Gamers. We come from all walks of life and go through different things, but gaming brings us all together. You know what else brings us together? Gaming habits. Most of us, if not all of us, are guilty of doing many, if not everything I'm about to say. I'll tell you right now, everything I'm about to mention, I have been guilty of. And whether you did all of these things or just one, as a gamer, you can relate to these things. If they're good or bad habits, I'll let you be the judge of that. Although the last habit I talk about is probably the one that may be unhealthy for you to do, especially if you do it excessively, which I'm 100% guilty of. However, I'm just the messenger, so don't shoot me. And speaking of shooting, I'm sure you'll reload instantly, and that's our first habit. Instantly reloading. You're probably thinking, well, obviously, if I'm playing a game that requires shooting, I'm going to reload. And you're right, nothing abnormal about that. However, if you're anything like me, you'll reload a 100 bullet clip even if you only fired one bullet. Because when you get into a firefight, that one bullet you didn't bother to reload will be the make or break for you. Other people may call it ridiculous or being paranoid, but we know better. We've experienced what it was like dying in a shooter when spectating the enemy and they only had one magic pixel of health left, keeping them alive. And you just think, if only I didn't have to reload mid-fight. So whether it's 50 bullets or one bullet, you will always reload to be at max capacity. This next one I feel a kinship with anyone who also abides by this habit. You ever buy a game that has an extremely hype or just really good opening? It's got great music and visuals and it pumps you up to play the game, doesn't it? You could listen to it every time you boot up the game. Then you invite a friend or play with a family member and you start the game up. That opening cutscene starts, but something happens after 2 seconds. You're at the main menu and you're just wondering, where the hell did the opening go? And all your hype and enjoyment is gone. Then you turn your head and look over, and the friend you invited over to play with skipped the goddamn opening.
Let me go! Let me go! I'll tear him apart!
I mean, that's just sacrilege to the highest degree. I can't think of anything worse. The intro is what gets you into the mood to either kick some ass or amp you up before you get one-shotted. The effort that went into making that intro to have it set the entire mood for you to play, and then some monster just skips it without giving a shit because they say, it's just an opening. I want to get into the game. It's just an opening. Is the Mona Lisa just a painting? Is Beethoven's Fifth just a song? Is it just green eggs and ham? Point is, you don't ever skip the opening. Okay, I've calmed down now. I'm gonna have to be calm for this next one anyway, since it's something a little more sneaky, stealthy, and makes no sense. And that's being quiet. Let me elaborate. Being quiet when you're playing a game that requires you to sneak around without alerting enemies. I refuse to believe that nobody has ever done this, even as a little kid. The tension builds, you finally made it through most of an area without being caught, and you whisper, almost there, don't f this up. Then, when you're at the ass end of the level, your parents walk in and say, what do you want for dinner? And you reply, I want a big helping heap of shut the f up. And because they spoke loudly, they clearly alerted the guards, offsetting your amazing run, then you die and now you have to start all over again. Everyone knows that if you're doing a section that requires absolute quiet, you need to be quiet in real life, since the guards can hear you through the fourth wall. This may come off extremely dumb to other people, but you have to be quiet because then
No one will ever know!
Don't you hate making those tight turns in Mario Kart? If only there was a way to actually make those without changing how you play the game or practicing. Lucky for you, there is. And that's leaning left and right in real life. It's so obvious. Why didn't anyone ever think of this before? If I lean left when making a left turn, it'll make my turn go more left as much as I need it to. Same if I turn right. I must be a friggin' genius. The more weight I put into my turn, it means Yoshi will do that too. Again, I'm so guilty of doing this even to this day. When I'm in the heat of it, I just unconsciously do this without realizing because somehow this will work, right? Somehow, the character will copy the exact motion that I'm doing and won't bang into the wall like a jackass and come in 12th. Well, at least it's not last place. There were how many people in that match? Mother Being overly prepared in a video game can happen when you're doing a million side quests for those rare and hard to find items that will definitely help you out in the endgame. Problem is, they're so hard to come by you don't want to use them. At least not on any old boss, so you're gonna save it for the final area and the final boss. Surely then you can use those items and put them to good use, right? At least that's what you think in your head, but is that actually how that's gonna go down? Which brings us to our next habit, hoarding. Yep, hoarding your stuff and never actually using it. Most video games you're going on a long journey. Whether that be as a hero or villain, it doesn't matter. But one thing games like that have in common is stocking up on a plethora of items. And of course, some items are going to be better than others, and the very rare ones, you can't just use them on some piece of crap enemy fodder. You have to use them on the real tough endgame enemies. Anything less is just a waste of resources. But you tell yourself you use them, and by the end of the game, with all the prep work and collecting you've done, you slap the final boss like the bitch it is. And you completely forgot or didn't even need to use those rare items, and now you've gone and finished the game, so what the hell was the point of saving those? I guess there's always New Game Plus? Who are you kidding? You're not gonna use it there either. This next one pretty much everyone's done, but it can go one of two ways, and that's raging. We've all raged before, but some rage not externally, but internally, and that's something I've gotten into. As a kid, you call the game unfair, cheap, a liar, a butthead, every horrible thing we could conceive. When you get older, your vocabulary gets a little bit more, let's say, vibrant. However, instead of raging like a lunatic in the alt chat or over a mic, which I never personally got, because it's the internet, nobody cares what you think, right? Like and subscribe. I instead would rage internally. My thought process was there's no point in being loud because 1, I'll wake everyone up depending on the time, and 2, I can't bring myself to yell because I need all the energy I can muster in destroying this piece of garbage. 99.99% of the time though, I would rage at CPUs that I thought were doing the most unnecessary, stupid, unfair pieces of you get it, I didn't like CPUs. Perfect example of this, to this day, this character annoys the hell out of me, and that's Vega from Street Fighter. Why, you may ask? Well, when I play Street Fighter 2, I can't stand this character. This guy gets to climb on the background fence, and then he jumps off it like an asshole and always kills me with his stupid... Perfect example of driving me crazy, and only the computer can do it. And I'm convinced the devil himself made this character to annoy everyone who played this game. I would say the worst things in my head instead of out loud, or mumble stuff so that nobody in my house thinks I'm a lunatic. You, Vega. Lastly, I'll tell you one thing that's a habit I'm trying to break, but damn, it is so hard to do, and that's leaning forward. I literally just can't stop myself from leaning forward while playing a game. I've done it for so many years. I get so sucked into a game, whether it be for the story, gameplay, BSRNG mechanics that make me go to the literal edge of my seat. I just can't sit straight. I know this is bad for my back, and I try to make a conscious effort to try and stop doing this, but by the time I catch myself doing it, it's already been like an hour. I get pulled into the game, I don't know what to say, I get fixated, especially during a hard fight, and it's not like me leaning in gives me some crucial advantage, but I guess it's like my subconscious telling me to get in there. I would if I could, but I'm not Tyre Matt, I don't have the hair for it. This is probably the worst one because so many people have told me over the years that if I don't stop doing this, I'm gonna wind up being bent over for the rest of my life. Luckily, I don't have any severe back problems yet. Let's hope it stays that way. But I am gonna try my best to try and break this one. Some of these habits we develop early and just stick with us, or as we get older, we develop new ones and drop the older ones we had when we were younger. Regardless, if you do any of these, everybody has a habit that they're doing when they're gaming, and it's honestly pretty fun to talk about. I'm sure there are some habits that I didn't cover here that other people can think of, so let me know in the comments what you think. And with that, just keep being you and continue to game. Thanks for watching, Nath out. Hey everyone, thanks for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, maybe consider checking out some of my other stuff right here. Maybe go on a binge. And binging is a habit nobody should ever break. Either way though, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later.